are. I've got one of those cards that is always difficult for us, a sympathy card. But they don't have to be somber. I think having a really pretty serene scene like this is perfectly acceptable. So I thought I'd show you how to achieve this. It's very, very easy. Just a little bit of inking. And we'll show you what we'll be using today. I've got the Catkins stems. I'm using the With Sympathy die. And I'm also using the double pierced squares from the Noble range. So I've actually done a little bit of my inking ahead of time, just so it didn't take too terribly long. I've cut a circle just out of copy paper and used a little bit of removable adhesive on the back there. And I've done some inking with the mustard seed. I'm going to come back in with the spice marmalade and do a little bit more inking with our smoothie. And we'll just play and pull it right off of that sun. Just give a little bit of color coming around that and pull away from your paper. There we go. And if you want it a little deeper, you can do that too. A little smoothing it around there. All right. So I like the way that looks. You can add a little bit more around the edge if you like. Bring in some other color. What's nice about things like this is it's really your own personal choice how deep you want that color to be. I'm going for something that is a very peaceful, serene sort of look to it, so I like having that myself. So pop that to the side. Now, I've gone ahead and masked this bottom part with some removable adhesive on a piece of copy paper, and I've done a little bit of inking already. I've got some tumbled glass going through here and a little bit of stormy sky. So what I'm going to do is replace this up on the other side. Try and get that line as straight as I can. Looks good. I'm going to come back in with my Stormy Sky and my chipped sapphire. So bring in a couple more smoothies, and this one is Stormy Sky, so I'm going to work along with this one first. So bring that back in. And I like having just a tiny bit of that blue coming out to kind of give a reflection from where the sun is. I want to bring a little bit more color in and deepen it up. And it's a matter of sort of adding layers, I think, when you do any kind of inking like this. So it does take a little while to build it up. The smoothies help you blend really nicely with your color. There we go. And I think I will use the chipped sapphire just along the edge here to give it a real nice dark look along that top horizon line. There we go. And we can go around the edge a little bit more. Blend that out. There we go. Along the edge. And around. There we go. So again, if you want it a little deeper, you can spend a little bit more time on that, but I think that'll get the basic picture across to you. Now I'm going to pull this off carefully. There we go. And if you've got an adhesive remover, you can just use that and pick up the little bit that may be left on there. And then take off my sun. Peel that up gently. And that does have a little bit of adhesive on it, so I'm going to try and take that off. There we go. And one of the things I think is really nice to do is to go back in with your yellow or your orange and kind of just create a little bit of a highlight going up in front of the sun as well. Just kind of drag it across. There we go. And you can even use the pointy end of it to kind of get a sharper look to it. There we go. Okay, happy with that. Pop that aside. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is put my frame over this. And I've cut some of these catkins. And I tell you what, I'm going to backtrack a step. I'm going to actually cut a few more of these. Let me pop these to the side. Using some black card. And there's 5 in here that you get, so we'll just cut some extras. And just so they don't overlap at all, I'm going to pop down a piece of tape or 2, hold them into place. Okay, there we go. Run that through, and we'll show you how you can lengthen those. Okay. And take the tape off. It's getting a good workout today, that tape. There we go. And find either the top or the bottom release hole and just give it a poke and you can get a hold of them. There. Okay. And the last one. There we go. Okay, so now if we bring in our Cosmic Shimmer glue and grab a couple of these, let me get them all turned around here, and add a little bit to the top of one. We can lengthen these, and that will give us a little bit more variety in our sizing. Just add that on top of the other one. Give that a second to set up. Now I've already done one other one long, so I've got a little bit of choice here that I can go with. So I'm going to start by taking off the bottom part of the frame on the mounting foam, and since I want my catkins to be over in this area, I can just pop them into place about where I want them to be. In fact, you can kind of sort of look how you'd like them to be, and then we'll trim away any extra bits that are too tall. Maybe about like that. Let's use 5 of them. There we go. So you can center it right about where it needs to go, and we want to be sure to catch them all. So let's make sure they're down low enough. There we go. That'll work. A little bit over like that. So that will stay in place nicely, like that. Okay, so now I can just peel off the mounting foam backing pieces, and let me just make sure that they're inside my frame. There we go. And now we can just nip away the little edges on the bottom here that show. So you've got a really nice, pretty spray of catkins coming up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add that onto my card. I think I'll just use a little bit of Cosmic Shimmer glue, and we'll come back to the Sympathy die, and I'll show you how we're going to create a little bit different look with that. So I've got the piercing. I'm just going to layer that right in the center there, like that. Okay, ready to go. Now, the Sympathy die comes with a real pretty little lily there, but just for simplicity, and because there's a lot going on that, I decided that I wanted to just use the wording for that. So it's been designed so you can easily just nip this away, round out the top of the H a little bit, take this off right there, and round out the top of the H and width here, out your flower. So you can have just the wording, and that's easy peasy to do. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and cut one in white and one in black, and I've just offset it ever so slightly to create a shadow, and we're going to go ahead and add that. A little bit of spray adhesive is the quickest way. And I'm going to pop that right down in the bottom here. Oops. There we go. There we go. Beautiful card. And I just love the way that that is such a serene look. Oh, and I tell you what, there's one extra little, tiny little thing you can add that's quite pretty. Little black fine lined pin, and you can just add a couple little handmade birds there if you like. Really, really pretty. And I know it's not the easiest of subjects to do cards for, but I think that's lovely. I really do think that that's quite a pretty scene for something like that. So I hope you've enjoyed this.